Hello. So today's topic, reasons to stay, reasons to go, and maybe the reasons to come back. For me personally, there were a few of them to stay. First of all, I didn't feel myself comfortable even thinking of leaving the country. I knew that I will not be able to make my peace with that, and I wanted to stay in my city because this is my city, and if I will have to protect it, I will do that. Obviously, I'm not like a strong fighter, and in terms of first medical aid, I went 2 times to get the course, and we established that I'm good for nothing because I get panic attacks whenever I see blood. Yeah, but at least I can cook, at least I can help in any other ways, and I did feel myself useful at the beginning of war. So leaving the country was not an option for me. Also, my friends and colleagues, when they were leaving the country, there were very stressful and dangerous stories. Those are not my stories to tell, so I will not share the details. But I'm not a good driver, so I knew that safer for me would be to stay in Kyiv rather than to drive. But I think one of the scariest moments during the time was when I was, I think it was third or fourth day of the invasion, and I was sleeping on the floor in the bathroom, and I've heard the noises from the upper apartment, and the noises were that my neighbors were packing and leaving the city, and it felt very scary at that moment. But apart from that being very personal decision for me, my parents decided to stay, and my aunt and uncle, who are elderly people, also decided to stay. They left for a very short period of time to Warsaw, but then they came back. And I know that I would be more stressed leaving the country rather than staying here. But this is my personal choice, and it would be definitely very different if I'd have, for example, children to take care about. So reasons to leave most probably would be children, uh, because it is very stressful. It is very noisy when the shelling happens. The air raid alerts are not helping to build a healthy nervous system. Although I have friends and colleagues who stayed here with their children or relocated to the western part of Ukraine, their children still go to schools and kindergartens. Yeah, but now the consideration of the educational facility goes whether they have or don't have their personal bomb shelter. Yeah, very different reality right now. Then, yeah, I think that would be like definitely a factor to consider to leave Ukraine. But I also have friends who couldn't stay because of the stress they went through because of the shelling and air raid alerts, and now also electricity shutdown is adding to that. So they tried to come back, they tried to stay here, and then they left because blood sugar levels went up, and like overall nervous system didn't cope with that very well. And those are healthy adults. So we react on the situation in very different ways, and most probably leaving Ukraine would be way much more stressful for me than staying here. And as of the time of invasion, I haven't left Kiev. I have traveled a lot before that, but since January last year, I haven't traveled from Kiev anywhere. And this Sunday will be my first time out. I'm traveling for business trip to Warsaw, but only for a few days, so I will be back the next week. And then what else? Reasons to stay right now also for me, paying taxes and supporting economy, because my company pays taxes for me here in Ukraine, and with my salary I can support others, those who stayed here and are not that lucky to have international company taking care of them. So I order lots of Ukrainian services from locals. I also like buy things and buy more presents to others from Ukrainian producers mostly. And at the beginning I was also sharing with my international colleagues the links to various Ukrainian brands, just for them to order, to support Ukrainian designers, brands, etc. For them to pay taxes further on, and also to support our country. And I have an opportunity to relocate. My company supports it, but also I have friends and relatives living abroad, and I think any country I could think of where I would like to live, I have an opportunity to relocate there. But right now I want to stay in Kyiv, and I don't think that I will feel myself very good if I will leave the Kyiv and relocate emotionally. And my cheat sheet. Whether I have said everything I wanted to say. So but living in digitalization, one of the reasons to come back, and I think I know quite a few people who came back from staying in Europe, and thinking that it is really cool to stay and live in Europe before that. And then when they experienced that you don't have that much digitalization in neighboring countries as it is in Ukraine, many of them came back. It is strange, but for example in Kiev you can pay by card and touchless. So I pay with my watch almost everywhere. Even if I just go around the city and I want to grab a coffee, I can pay there by my watch. It's we have one application where all our documents are stored, so my passport, my driving license, and things like that, and it's very easy to navigate. I have all the chats where I have push notifications if electricity shutdown will happen. So more or less often I can know that in advance. What else? I think our cafes and restaurants are operating as well, and service level in Ukraine in this kind of facilities is really way much better than average in Europe. Not talking that we don't have siestas, so you basically can go and eat whenever you want. The food delivery works and operates really very well, unless it is air raid alerts. They don't deliver during the time. Other than that, they actually do. Then what else? I think the comfort of living, except for shelling, air raid alerts, and electricity shutdown, is actually higher in Ukraine than on average in neighboring countries. Basically, I don't think that people should come back now. Because we have troubles with electricity, and we try to decrease the consumption, so more people coming back will not help that. It is very dark on the roads in the evening, and recently it was snowing a lot, so it is also slippery. Driving is a hell in the evening or at night. Just a few roads have lights on them, so other than that, and people are not very caring about where they cross the road, so they think that if they can survive shelling, then they're immortal. And we should be very, very careful about that. And also it is still not very safe. In Kiev we have quite a lot of internally relocated people, so we don't call them refugees, from eastern and south cities which are more heavily shelled. So coming back right now is not the best decision, but I hope that when the war is over, people will be back to Ukraine. And there are very different Ukrainians, and I do hope that none of my foreign friends will encounter a negative experience with Ukrainians. But you never know. And I hope that we will be back as a nation in prosperity and peace, rebuilding ourselves soon, possibly this year. But now, reading the news, it is quite sad and stressful, and definitely not the best time for people to come back. So if you are in any situation seeing Ukrainian person, even if the one behaves rude, I know that this can happen. Please take into account that most probably those people went through quite a stress traveling from their country, and majority of them are traveling for their first time. I think less than 10% of Ukrainians before the war traveled abroad, and usually those travel to Egypt and Turkey. Not that much of a cultural invasion, so please be patient to them. Not all Ukrainians like that. Mostly we are very kind and very grateful people, but under the stress we can be very, very different. And I hope that you will have only best experience meeting Ukrainians, and please support them. Please be very considerate about loud noises, especially goes for fireworks, because we don't react on those noises the way we used to, and I don't think that till the end of my life I will ever be able to observe fireworks in normal way without just my stomach getting into the knot. So yeah. So those are my reasons to stay and reasons to go and reasons to come back.